I'm going to show you how to measure for flight as well as base rail in this video. Here are the tools I like to use. 100-foot tape measure comes in very handy. We have a laser line, which will cast the horizontal and vertical line. Then we have a dot, which is a little bit brighter, a little bit easier to see, and it can tell us where a point up top comes down in case we can't reach up. We have a couple of laser range finders, tape measure. I have this calculator, which will do fractions and inches. We are in America. These come in handy when we are measuring existing stairs to put glass on there. This will tell us the angle of the stairs, and this will also tell us the angle as well as the miter angle to put on the saw. We're not going to be using these for this system. When measuring flight, you want to pick one point as a reference point, and we're going to come off that to reference everything. My reference points that I like to use is going to be where I think the base of the flight is going to land. We're coming here or here somewhere. I'm not sure which way this U is going to run, but we're going to make this the top. I'll check the elevation from here down to the ground in both places. And if they're exactly the same, we don't need to do anything else. But if one is out of level, we need to take note which one is at what elevation. I'm going to check the floor, make sure it's perfectly level, as well as this area up here. And then I know that I can reference off of the floor and the floor up here. So checking level is really easy with this thing. You can put it down, and then you can see I've got a line everywhere. This is a perfectly flat line. All right, got my laser set up. I can come over here, I can check this. I better start over here first. My laser is, can't hardly see that, but that is 5/8 here. And then turn this a little bit over there. Check this, 3/4. 1/8 is a little bit much, but you can make that work on the install. We're looking for something like a 1/2 inch or so out of plumb. And then last, I'll just check over here. Very hard to see, but that is 7/8. So we have a little bit of a slope here. It's not terrible. I would count this as flat because we're only out about 1/8 of an inch from this side to that side. And that is where the base of the stairs is going to land. If I was landing over here somewhere, there's quite a bit of a slope from that point to this point. If the stairs were landing here, I would make sure that my distance, my vertical distance from the top matched this point. But this is relatively level, so we're going to match that point. All right, going to the computer. I don't have the website open. This is the app or the program that's physically on the computer. We can come over here to open file. I want to open from Trimble Connect. That's the cloud-based saving place. Click on SketchUp, hit open. All right, now we need to find our file or make a new one. Shanae's already got this one in here for me. All right, so for ViewRail, we put the project number first, and then maybe some information like the address, or we share this login with the ViewRail guys. I'll put for who it's for. I don't see my file in here right now, so hit cancel. And then I want to do new architectural, click on that. And then let's go to, the first thing we want to do is change our model info. And we do this to match the ViewRail drawings. We want to go from architectural to fractional, all right? And then that's already saved. You can just X out of this. If you're in Windows, there might be a OK button. But what that does is it puts all of our measurements in inches. There's no feet. We do everything in inches. That makes it a lot easier to check when you're checking drawings. It's inches to inches. This button here lets you grab the drawing and turn it. I'm gonna choose the floor in this corner, the floor and this corner as my reference point. I'm gonna build first these walls here. I'm gonna build this little space. I'll start first by mapping this framing line right here where the framing meets the floor. I'm gonna start by making our walls right here. I will put in this area as well and then come back and model all this. Let's first start by making this line here, from here to there, that wall. We have 8 feet, 1 and 23/32. So you come over here, we're gonna make a line. I like to hit L, and it's gonna snap to this point right here. And I'm gonna type in, it's right in the computer. You're gonna see it show up here, 8. There's the 8, and that's the feet. And then we need 1 space, and we can type in 27, 29, 30 seconds. 29, 30, 32, and hit enter. And it drew my line for me automatically. Now, on the vertical axis, I'm gonna shoot from here all the way up there. That is pretty far. We don't need to go up that high. I'm just gonna make a guess at what we have at 20 feet. That's plenty for our model. I'll just come over here and I'll type 2, 0, and then make sure you hit the foot button. So that's feet, that's inches, feet. Enter, and you'll see the line pop up automatically. And 2 fingers up and down zooms in and out. I'm making this wall. Now the red axis is coming in front of me. I don't want red, so you move it around until you get the green. It clicks in and come down here. That is the face of these studs, right? Now I'm reasonably sure this is a U-shaped system. It's big enough for a 360, so a platform here, maybe a step down, a platform here, which means we're gonna have to anchor somewhere in here each end of our steel. So we know we can attach here, then we're gonna come down to a platform somewhere in here. There's no anchor point here on the window because we need to be right about there. There's also no anchor point here. So there's a good chance this needs a column. So we want to frame in our model this opening as well. So I'm just gonna take our trusty tape measure, put that right there. That's lining up there. Hit the button, 1 foot 8 7/8. Put that in there. I'll go ahead and grab this. So line up my framing here. Here's my laser. I'll turn it over a little bit to make sure I actually hit it where I want it. All right. 1 foot 6 and 13/32. I'll do the same thing here. So starting from the back, there's my laser line. Now look, I've got all 3 measurements. I can go ahead and put this in the model. Zoom in on this. Let's get a better view. All right, this takes some getting used to. All these buttons do something different. Oop, I don't want to do that. That moves the whole model. So Control Z, put that back. This is our best bet. Zoom out, zoom in. All right, let's put in our measurements. All right, so this button here is our tape measure. This will put a line where we want it. So I'll come down here, I'm gonna come up. This is our distance from the subfloor to the framing. So that is 1 foot 8 7/8. So I'm just gonna type in 1 foot 8 base, and then 7/8. You don't have to do inches. That's the default measurement. You hit enter. Now look, I got a little point right there. You can see it, right? So I'll draw a line here in a minute all the way across, and that's gonna be the framed, that's that top 2x6 right there. All right, so coming from that corner, that was the last measurement, 1 foot 6 and 11/16. All right, so I got my little points there, right? I can just hit L. I'm gonna click on there, it snaps over, stay on the green axis. We can delete stuff later. I went 20 feet up. I'm just gonna type in 20 feet. Make sure you put the foot mark. I do that on both sides. And you can try to model this exactly, putting these mid beams in, but these mid beams are pretty much the same level as our floor. We're coming down. There's no shot we're gonna be able to use these or them get in the way of anything of our system. We had the face of the framing, so we're going to just just frame roughly this opening. These numbers are exact on the sides. This number is exact. We'll make these sides and the bottom exact too, but that's all I'm concerned about. All right, so we have this face framed here. And what I want to know is how far from the glass to the framing. So put your tape measure in there, come down here. When you all line it up, we have 4 3/8. Lined up, 4 3/8. So we want to push that back 4 3/8 of an inch. This is our push back button. Click on that. Ooh, that's too far. We just type it in. All right, 4 3/8, it's in inches. We don't need to tell it inches. Hit return. That tells us how far back the glass is. Now we can see that. Oh, I can't look down there. Zoom out, zoom in. There is our ledge from the framing to the glass. Okay, now I'm gonna do this wall, and I'm gonna put this door in here as well. I'm gonna put as much detail as I can. This wall will have the window, the door, and right now we're just gonna kind of make this whole thing without putting the floor in yet. I'm gonna use this tool. This is just like a select tool, and you can start cleaning up your drawing, getting rid of things that we don't really need, just to make it look a little bit nicer. All right, that looks pretty good. So I've got this wall and this wall and that door framed up. I'm gonna go ahead and start drawing some of this. This just takes experience, but I'm gonna draw from that framed corner to this framed corner, back there and back, and that should be enough. So just by tracing this line and then drawing up 20 feet at a time, that has given me these walls here. So now I have from this door opening all the way to that corner framed out, which is more than enough. All of our components are gonna fit inside that space because we're not doing anything over there. We're pretty much stopping at this corner, but we have that wall modeled so, you know, when we send the drawing off, those people can visualize what we have. So we have all this, the windows and that door framed. Let's put in this entire, this is called an LVL, that's called a truss. Let's put those in. So first, let's see how high up we are. Got my trusty little laser. This is the subfloor. I'm shooting right there. I'll do it a couple times, then 3 times, and you look at your measurements. Those are pretty close. So I got 11 foot 9, 21/32 2 times. That's what I'm gonna use in my model for the height of the floor. And while we're up here, let's get this distance from the face of the LVL over to the framing. Now, come over here, put that up. Get over there, there's the laser. We shoot that. 11 foot 7, 21/32. I'm gonna shoot that one more time. I'm gonna do that closer to here. 11 foot 7 3/4. That's probably just a little variation in the framing, but I'm gonna go with the shorter distance on that one because we'll have some room then for air. If it's too big, it's hard to install. If it's a little too small, we'll have a little bit of space to can shim out. So I like to go smaller, which looks like the 21/32. So that LVL is somewhere in here, right? Somewhere in that wall. So I'm gonna start by drawing my first line out here and then drawing it up. And that's gonna give me that edge of the subfloor up there. So I'll just do line, starting from that corner, come on over. Now this was our measurement to the ground. These are our measurements from the wall. So let's plug in our 11 foot 7 and 21/32. Now when I did that, it closed up my doorway here. Let's zoom in, you'll see that point is just past this door frame. Come over here and verify. Our LVL face is just past the door frame, so that checks out. So come back over here, I'm gonna draw another line from here going up, and our vertical distance was this 11 foot 9, 21/32. Okay, so now I got this goofy line right here. What do we do with that? On our green axis, let's just come on over till it turns green. And, ooh, it says on face. So I'll click that, hit escape. Let's spin this around and take a look. So where does that land us? So not on the line, it just stops on the face. All right, now let's see how thick or how deep this thing is. So hooking on there, we are, I call that 21 inches thick. So I'm gonna take my line function. I wanna make sure I'm snapping to the right point. Click. I'm just gonna type in 21. Bam. There's my LVL, and I can come back over here and get on the face. Now if it makes a solid line, that means you have a perfectly plumb and level square. Because we're in America, everything is silly. These studs, 99% of the time, are 1.5 inches thick, 1.5 inches. These LVLs are 1 3/4 to 2 inches thick. We got 3 of them. I can guarantee you they're 1 3/4. Let's go ahead and model that. 1 3/4 times 3. So we made that face, even though we're looking on this side, that face is this face that we can see. So we need to push this back. We need to extrude that back. So I'll take my push pull, that button, click on this. We're gonna come back 5.25. It's 5 1/4. It's just easy for me to type it like that. Hit enter. Now there's our LVL. And if I spin around and look at it, it is, it's still solid. So we have a solid LVL. Now we need to locate this truss. It should be coming straight off this wall that we've already got framed. So I'm just gonna pull over from there and double check it. Now when you're drawing this stuff, you can kind of trick the system. I started drawing my line over here and came over, and it automatically stopped me when I was lining up with this wall, right? So see how it kind of does that? We like that. So I click there, now I have a point on the red axis, which is horizontal. I can come over there and it'll automatically click where I need to. I remember this was 21 inches deep. So I'll click there, come down. I'll type in 21 inches. We hit enter. All right, now it snaps there automatically. I'll bring it over here. Everything's automatic. Because we're in America, everything is silly. This is 3.5 inches wide, 99% of the time. All right, we're all in there. Last thing I'm gonna check, since we are gonna be putting glass on this rail, I wanna make sure that this face of framing matches my drawing as it does in real life. So let's double check that. So button in here and shooting over to that framing. You wanna make sure you're actually, I don't know how you guys zoom in on TikTok with one hand. 8'1". I'm gonna check that again. I'll come up in a little bit different spot. Hit that again. 8'1" and a fraction. They're pretty close. So 8'1" we know is what we should be here on the framing. Let's check this. With the laser, this is a little tricky. I'm gonna put my laser here and get back there and check that a couple times. So 4'9" and a fraction. So 8'1", 4'9" with some fractions. Let's check our drawing. Let's pull some measurements. We can come to our tools. We want dimensions. Let's click here and then there. 57, and then come over here and there, 97. All right, that's where this ridiculousness. I know 96 is 8 feet, so 97. This is almost 8'2". Come over here and 8'2". It's off by 3/4. But since we're installing back off this edge, we have flexibility for the model. 3/4 of an inch off our base rail is okay because we can move our base rail back here a little bit. And then 4'9", 48, that would be 57 and some change. Same thing, 57 and some change. That one turned out a little bit better. That says 3/16 and we have 27/32. So that's within 1/4 inch, that's fine. You wanna make sure you're not off by, let's say over 2 inches. Then it's not gonna work. But this is a perfectly square, plumb, and level model. And our space is not perfectly plumb, level, and square. That is not a reasonable expectation. You just wanna make sure we're close. We can move that bit of glass in and out if this is off. We can move this little bit of glass in and out if that's off. Things you can't really change is steel. So from this level down needs to be exact, and you also can't change glass. So widths like this, we need to get right as well. We're giving them framed measurements. They're gonna add a layer of sheetrock. So guys at V-Rail should model that in. We're just doing all framing. We will always measure framing. Sometimes we come in, sheetrock is installed, we will do our math and subtract a 1/2 inch so the sheetrock is off and we get the framing measurement. Now it's good that we modeled this corner, because the more I visualize it, we're gonna come down and around, and we're coming down here. Some portion of these last few treads is coming past that wall. They will need to put a piece of glass right here. We got it in the model, so now we can put it up. Last thing we do, need to save our file to Trimble Connect. Save to Trimble Connect. Select SketchUp, double click, Untitled. Let's put the job number in there. That is 626982. And I'll say, let's say I'll call it original. Or I don't know, so that's oregano. And let's save another one, the exact same thing. Save a copy to Trimble Connect. And then I'll do this. I'm put oh man, dadgummit. Little surgery, we got the O working. So 4, let's do F4. We'll type in VR. And that way, when we send this to our engineer, they know that that's for them. Sometimes they mess up the file. We're gonna wind up hiding this so they can't see it or edit it, and they'll just mess up their own model. But we have everything we need for stairs and landing and glass and our base rail up here.